And good morning to you all, and welcome to the starting lineup. Great to have you with us on an absolutely beautiful Thursday in the Ozarks. Ned Reynolds joined by
Maddux, Radosevic.
The other two, Scott Purger and Art Haynes, will be with us a little bit later on in the show today. We have a great show lined up. And for the next 2 hours, we're right here talking sports and whatever. Like to hear from you. Now, you know the area code, folks. It's 417, obviously. But the line, the phone line, and the text line are the same. It is 447-1021. You can call in, and we'd be more than happy to talk with you, or you can text us with your questions, your comments, your queries, and we'll do our best to answer them as well. Starting lineup is brought to you by Play It Again Sports in the Fremont Shopping Center, Battlefield in Fremont, Springfield. I mean, everything you could possibly want in the world of sports right there at Play It Again Sports. Full stock of everything, including uniforms, right there at Play It Again Sports. Brought to you by Swing Right Golf at the south end of Campbell Avenue, a little bit north of Nixa, where your entertainment is the primary purpose. They have the simulator, the golf simulator inside. They have the batting cages. They have areas for you to play Frisbee and everything else. It's great, folks. Swing Right Golf on the area, South Campbell, a little bit north of Nixa. Brought to you by Citizens Bank of Rogersville with two roots. That's what they call their branches, roots. And one of them is adjacent to Highland Springs, and the other is in Rogersville itself. And by Marshfield Chevrolet at the I-44 exit, a couple of left turns, and you're right there at Marshfield Chevrolet. So we have a big show lined up, and Maddux, this is going to be a lot of fun today because we do have some special guests, one of whom is Paul Hansen coming up from Bolivar. He's the head football coach at Southwest Baptist. He'll be on with us at 7:30. 8 o'clock, Terry Lemons, who's a former writer for the Springfield News Leader. He has a new book that he has authored. And then Mr. Purger will join us from Bellerive Country Club up in St. Louis.
This is a solid list of guests that we have here, Ned. I'm really excited. I mean, it's a pretty full list, and we've got lots of different things to talk about. 3 different sports that we're going to cover with those guests.
Well, indeed, we have the baseball, football, and of course, golf figures very much into it with the tournament itself starting, let's see, what time is it now? A little 7:02. I think in a little bit less than 2 hours they'll be teeing off up at Bellerive. I'm assuming the weather is pretty good up there. It wasn't really good yesterday for their practice rounds. I'm sure got that in to some extent. But over and above all that, it'll be a very interesting level of golf. This is number 2 in the 3-round FedEx Series, and a big one.
And Scottie Scheffler is still the overwhelming favorite for this contest, and it's not difficult to see why. I mean, we talked about it yesterday, but he is the number 1 golfer in the world right now, so it's difficult to count him out in any golf contest.
Not only that, but at the end of this, after next week at East Lake in Atlanta, the PGA has $100 million that they have in a pool, and it's all based on the numbers of points that you get, and the pool leader earns $33 million. That pool leader has already been decided, and it's Mr. Scheffler. He's already locked it up. Nobody's going to take his place. Now, the question is, does he go out and play top-level golf the next 2 rounds? I say yes.
I think so. He's just that good. I mean, I loved what Dwight was saying about him yesterday. You know, he just strikes the ball so well, and his putting is just so premier, and that often decides these tournaments. So if he goes out and does that, which he pretty much does every single time, then you know he's going to be in the top 10. You're pretty sure he's going to be in the top 5, and you're pretty confident that he's going to win.
Interesting thing about him, too, is you watch his diligence. Now, here's a guy, first of all, he's young. He looks a little bit older than he really is. He's only 30 years old, All-America, Texas. But his diligence on the golf course, there's nothing that dissuades him. I'm sure the galleries are hollering at him and so forth and so on, and they're big galleries. But he is immune to that. He does show some sensitivity toward the folks and so forth and so on, which is fine. But it's his focus is right there, what needs to be done, and he does it the right way.
Yeah, I think it was the 17th or 18th hole, the last hole that he was playing at the British Open this year, and he just got himself into a big mess after his drive off the tee box, and then his next shot wasn't great. He had to hit a provisional, but I think he ended up getting either a birdie or a par on that hole. I mean, it's just so amazing to watch him do what he does. He just is unfazed. It doesn't matter what kind of mess he gets himself into. You know he's got a really good chance of getting out of it.
It happened, as a matter of fact, you mentioned the difficulties, and of course that's what golf is based on. You're going to get into difficulties every time. He hit one, and I want to say it was the 11th last week because he had a 3-stroke lead, but he hit into a trap, and he hit a very nice bunker shot out of it, but the ball hit a sprinkler head, and it's metal. And it went onto the green and rolled off the green, and the green is sloped down and rolled into the water. And I thought, oh, here we go. Now, I know what an old man like me would have done, thrown my clubs and so forth and so on, and swear and everything else. Not Scheffler. He takes the provisional, takes the 1-stroke, gets out of it with a bogey, and the rest is history.
And so much of it, Ned, I think, is what you talked about yesterday. It's that psychological disposition, the competitive edge. It's looking at the bad shots that you may have to take when you're in some bad lies that you have to deal with, or if you're just dealing with some obstructions, or maybe the situation like you just described, he has some unfortunate circumstance pop up where he hits a sprinkler head and now he has to deal with another tough shot. And he looks at those shots as opportunities. They're not hindrances. It's a chance for him to prove why he is the best.
With us, they are hindrances.
And a few extra strokes as well.
Absolutely. Oh, more than a few. What was it? There was one tournament. This has been a number of years ago, where a guy finished 13 on one hole. I think it was a par 3, and the ball went all over the place, and he lost his cool, lost his composure, and finished with the 13th, and, of course, exited the tournament pretty quickly after that. Well, it's time for our starting 5, which are the virtual top stories of the day, and we had a lot of them going on. I want to stay with golf here for a second because I get your opinion on this and the opinion of our audience. And again, the number is 447-1021, both text and phone line. The LIV folks, the LIV Golf Tournament is being played opposite the Bellerive Country Club Tournament this weekend. And the LIV Tournament is being played in Indianapolis. This is their final tournament of the year. Wait a minute, what about the LIV Championship in Michigan? 0. Sayonara. It is gone. There's not enough money for them to have it, so this is going to be it. And they go head-to-head with the FedEx competition, which they will lose big time on the TV ratings. Over and above that, though, the LIV people continue, and it's Scott O'Neill is their board, or their chief tub thumper, so to speak, and the chairman, continues to talk positively about the fact that it's going to be back next year, new financing, and the players will have part ownership of the tournament, or the tour, I should say, which will be reduced in numbers. I think to 10 is what they're going to have. But that is it, new financing. They don't reveal who the new financing is and so forth, and they are facing any number of lawsuits and back pay and so forth. Maddux, you follow this pretty closely. What do you think their future is?
It doesn't look great, Ned. I mean, we've talked about this for the last few weeks, and it just doesn't seem like there's a great path forward for LIV. It just hasn't been in a great position ever since we got some news that came out saying that they were going to have a tough time paying their players, and that's just never a good sign. I mean, you're talking you're talking about a professional sport here, and these athletes, they're expecting to get paid. I mean, you got to find a way to be able to do that. And if they can't, which they've said that they've struggled to do that, then it's really difficult to have confidence in LIV going forward.
The commissioner yesterday, the day before, I'm not sure which, did admit that the last couple of weeks and months, for that matter, have been very challenging for this competition. But Bryson DeChambeau comes out and says yesterday he's all for it. He wants to be a part of LIV and so forth. But he's the only one who's made that statement. I did notice that there were interviews yesterday with Scheffler and with Rory McIlroy. They weren't together, the distant locales. So one did not hear the other. But Mr. Scheffler said, yeah, I'd like to see the LIV players come back onto the tour and maybe have a bit of a penalty for abandoning. But Rory McIlroy was far more punitive than that. He said, I don't know whether we want him back or not. They abandoned ship. Did you read any of that?
Yes, I did see that Rory had some pretty outspoken comments, and it's not surprising. This is the same guy that referred to Bryson DeChambeau as performative during the British Open this year. So he doesn't hold back. You know that when you're going to hear Rory McIlroy talk, he's going to tell it like he feels like it.
There is no glossing over. No.
That's right. So, yeah, it's, I think, something that he isn't too happy about for sure. And, I mean, we know what his relationship is like with Bryson, so I think that could certainly have something to play into it. But, I mean, Scottie's a class act. You know that he's going to have the best PR answer that he can come up with, and I mean, that's just the kind of golfer that he is. That's the kind of person that he is. The
individual, I think, who is owed the most amount of money from the LIV folks is John Rahm, and something like $180 million. Well, if they don't have any money, how are they going to pay that guy? The world of finances just bypasses me completely.
And you're just talking about one guy there. I mean, you've got all these different players that you have to pay, and that is one that's going to be really difficult to come up with all that money. So it's a really bad position to be in. I'm glad that I'm not affiliated with LIV. I'll say that much.
Be interesting to see now in the next couple of weeks what their final determination are. Do they reveal who is the owner of the new money coming in and how that's going to work and so forth? And will that person ever be revealed, and will they come to the fore? I think there are a number of key decisions that have to be made. In baseball, of course, Cardinals played the Reds last night, and we heard that game. As you will hear the game today, the final game 5 of this 5-game series with Cincinnati does conclude this afternoon. It's an afternoon game at Great American Ballpark. So is the Royals game, for that matter. Royals and the Athletics play this afternoon at Kauffman Stadium. Cardinals game last night. Maddux, this is a game the Cardinals can't lose.
No.
And yet they did lose.
Yeah, they did. You know, these one-run games, they hurt just a little bit more at the end of the season. And when the Reds, just a team that hasn't had the season that it envisioned, 5 games below 500, when they're able to find a way to edge you out, then you got to be frustrated about it, because it's a chance to climb back in the wild card race for the Cardinals, and they can't do it. They'll have another chance today, can still win the series, but it's a missed opportunity for sure.
My sarcastic nickname for the Reds is not the Reds, it's the Pinks, because this is not a good team, and they're very weak. Now, they started out well, and Terry Francona is a great manager, and they do have talent on the ball club. Sal Stewart's a good player, Ellie Dela Cruz, good players. But they've been hurt so badly by injuries that they plummeted, and they're just simply not very good. They don't show a lot of spark. Worst of all, have you seen any of the games from Cincinnati?
Oh, I have, yes.
Well, I'm curious as to why the TV folks who are producing the game even bother to take a panoramic shot of the stands, because there ain't nobody there. This is, folks, you have to understand, Cincinnati's the birthplace of baseball. This is where they played the first pro games. It's the oldest franchise, back in the and nobody's going to the games. Oh, my.
Devastating. It's really sad. I mean, it's such a historical baseball town for that reason, and unfortunately, the organization just has not been in a competitive spot for the majority of the last couple decades. So it's really frustrating for this fan base, I think. I mean, granted, it is probably the most challenging division in all of Major League Baseball.
I don't think anybody will argue that.
Yeah.
It is. It may not have the production of the greatest records, although the Brewers are pretty good. They have the best record.
Right.
But the fact is that Cincinnati just simply has not played winning baseball until last night. And then you get Sal Stewart with that 3-run homer. That really took a lot of starch out of the Cardinals. But that's not what decided the game. Late in the game, Cincinnati gets 2 more runs, leave the bases loaded in the 8th inning. I thought, well, here's at least an opportunity. Sure enough, Jordan Walker, 2-run homer. It's 5-4. get another runner on third base, the tying run, and can't get him home.
It's a story that I think we've discussed quite a bit over the past few weeks with the Cardinals. And again, I think it's just a new development in the game. It used to be the case that when you had a runner in scoring position, especially on third base, and you had a chance to knock him in without getting a hit, with getting a sacrifice fly or hitting a ground ball over the right side, that would be the biggest devastation of the game, the biggest tragedy. But now it's almost not even an expectation that you get that run in. There are so many guys that go up to the plate and strike out in that spot, and it's such a letdown because you just got to put the ball in play, really.
That's the key, putting it in play, contact baseball, and that seems to be a lost art anymore. But I think probably the managers have this in mind, but that's not the way you play the game. It's the launch angle and all this, the analytics and so forth and so on. And before we get ourselves in political trouble, we better take a time out. Great to have you with us on the starting lineup, folks. Don't go away. Big show ahead, and we'll be back in just a second. And Mr. Purrier and Mr. Haynes will be with us a little bit later on the show. Scott from Bellerive up in St. Louis, and Arthur, of course, will be his usual place around 8 o'clock or so. Excuse me a sec. I'm Ned Reynolds along with
Maddux Radosevic.
And we are into our starting five, which are the top stories. Mentioned the Cardinals should not have lost last night. That hurt 5-4, fell to the Cincinnati Reds. Play again later this afternoon at the Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, and you'll hear the game right here at 102.1. Kansas City Royals, on the other hand, very nice comeback by them against an athletics team that's not very good, but still is a pro baseball team.
Yeah, the Royals have actually been playing pretty well recently. That's now 4 straight wins for the Kansas City club. And, I mean, it's something to look forward to for the future. Of course, they're still 9 games out of a wild card spot in the American League, which is rather disappointing considering how open it is. But I mean, it's progress. You like to see your team win near the end of the season, even when you're out of the playoff picture, I think, because you want to have some hope for the future.
You do indeed. And the hope is there for the future. It was last year as well and didn't manifest itself. But in this game last night, the Royals are behind 5-2, scratch and claw and bite and get back to it, tie the game 5-5. And here comes John Rave, who they've been bouncing like a basketball up and down between Omaha and the big club all season long. Well, who is John Ray? Well, he's a Missouri Valley Conference product, Illinois State. That's where he played his college baseball. And what's he do? How about a bases-clearing double? And that put the Royals ahead, put them ahead 9-5. And here comes Oakland. I owe $10 to the kitty. Here come the athletics back. So it's so automatic to say that, like the San Diego Chargers, the Oakland A's.
Always cracks me up, even when the major league announcers will mess that up. They'll say Oakland, and then they'll correct themselves. They'll say, "Oh wait, no, sorry, athletics."
Does happen. Anyway, the A's came back and made a game out of it. 9-7, the Royals get the win, and they also play this afternoon up at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. 2 key games. How about the White Sox going into Wrigley and beating the Chicago Cubs yesterday?
Avoided the sweep, yeah. I mean, the White Sox, they have turned a lot of heads this year. I don't think anybody really anticipated that they would be leading the division at this stage, but they are, and it's a pretty comfortable lead for them right now. They should be ahead by a few games at this point, 4 to be exact, over the Minnesota Twins at the moment. And not only that, but they're going to have a really good chance to have the number 2 seed in the American League, which would give them a bye in the first round of the playoffs. And that's just so monumental when you're talking about saving your pitching and preparing for that matchup in the divisional series.
I wonder how many of the folks in our audience are familiar with how the playoffs work. It is the wild card playoffs begin, and they are best of 3, and they are 3 consecutive days, all in the same ballpark. They don't move at all. It's all in the park, I should say, with the team with the better record. But that 3 days goes by pretty quickly.
It does.
Then
yes.
You're ready for the what do they call that? The divisional. Yeah, that's the divisional playoffs. Then the league playoffs, and then the World Series.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic setup, I think. I mean, I definitely love the old format with just having the 2 wild card teams and then they play in the wild card game. I thought that was a lot of fun. But, I mean, baseball being such a long season, I think it's difficult to have these teams play in just one game to decide any given round. So that old format with having just one game for the wild card, I think it was just difficult as a fan to watch 162 games and then all of a sudden your team can get knocked out with one punch, really. And now you get an extra lifeline, really, because you can lose a game there in that wild card series and bounce back and advance to the next round.
And Maddux, I think that's probably the reason why it did change too, because the public was so much against a one-game playoff. Yeah, the chronology of it, you have to understand, they're getting that one wild card game with 2 teams out of the way very quickly, but it really isn't fair. This way it's a 3-game best-of-3 series and there are 3 wild card teams in each league. So from that standpoint, yes, it does work out pretty well. World Series this year, if it were to go the full 7 games, will end on what day? Do you know?
I don't.
Halloween.
Really?
It will end on Halloween Day, the last day in October, 31st, and indeed it will be. Well, we'll see. We'll just have to see how things work out. So a lot of interest going on and a lot of good, solid baseball on the agenda as well. And now we turn and flip the switch to football, which will be coming up. As a matter of fact, our first guest will be with us at 7:30, and he's going to talk more than just a little bit of football. He'll talk a whole lot about football, as a matter of fact. But in the meantime, the Kansas City Chiefs hold their final practice of St. Joe. They break camp today and then head down to Kansas City. And then I find this to be interesting too, the exhibition game for Saturday. The Chiefs are leaving for it on Saturday morning, flying down there, not going a day ahead of time, going down Saturday morning, probably rest a little bit and then take the field against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, excited to see what the Chiefs do here this year. I mean, I think they've got to be angry after what happened last year, only winning 6 games, and hopefully Patrick Mahomes, for their sake, is going to be ready to go in week 1. It's the question as to whether or not he's going to be the real Patrick Mahomes, I think, in that first week, because, of course, he is coming off the injury, and, he might be going in there cold turkey, and I think that's something that is going to be a challenge for him because we know how competitive he is. We know how prepared he likes to be. So it'll be interesting to see how he does against Denver.
You have varying opinions as to whether or not the Chiefs' philosophy, and apparently he being Mahomes, is not going to play in any of the games, any of the exhibition games. And he will go into that first one against the Denver Broncos ice cold from a competitive standpoint. Now, what do you mean by that? Well, Mahomes himself has said he probably has a few butterflies until he takes that first hit, and then the butterflies are gone and you're ready for the season. Well, he hasn't had that first hit, and he's not going to until the first game when they play the Broncos, at least according to the plans that they have now. Will that work? Well, Mahomes is a very competitive player, and he understands circumstances. He's no dumbbell. He has it well figured out and has a direction in mind as to what he's going to do. But will that work? Here's the question.
That is the question, Ned. And speaking of Patrick Mahomes-like quarterbacks, did get some news come out yesterday, and this guy has been compared to playing like Patrick Mahomes. Skyler Locklear, according to Missouri State social media, will be the starter for the Bears in Week 1 against Texas A&M.
So it has been decided now. Locklear gets the nod over Beelan, the transfer from Duke. Locklear comes up here. He played here last year, played at Texas El Paso, and they didn't. I don't remember what the margin was, the score was in that game, but
I think it was 38-24.
That sounds about right. They did score. Yeah. They being the miners of UTEP did score. UTEP, as a matter of fact, is not in the Conference USA this year. They have moved on to, is it Mountain West? Is that where they are?
Sounds about right. Yeah,
they're in for. They're in for an awakening.
Yes. Yeah. So decision has been made, and I think my prediction here is that yes, we know who the starting quarterback is going to be for week 1. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be the quarterback for the entire season. Henry Beelan is very talented. We know he has a cannon for an arm. And if you know anything about Casey Woods and his previous stop at SMU, he had a quarterback battle there once before and had one particular guy start the season out, ended up going with the backup option later on in the season, and they went to a college football playoff that year.
They did indeed. And Southern Methodist, matter of fact, let's see, who did they play? Was it Notre Dame they played in the first round?
Oh, I think it was it Notre Dame or was it Penn State?
It may have been Penn State. It may have been Penn State. But Notre Dame is on Southern Methodist schedule this year. And that'll be certainly I remember back in the old days when SMU and Notre Dame met on a regular basis. Well, each school went through a metamorphosis in their programs, and Southern Methodist was not necessarily a positive one. But, hey, that's all bygone now. That's history, and they will field a very competitive football team. They always do, and the Bears will play them the third game. No, a fourth game. The fourth game
last non-conference
game. Yeah, because they have Marshall coming in here for the third game. Yeah. The Bears' schedule is a very good one, folks. As a matter of fact, it is rated as of the 138 Division I teams, the Bears have the 83rd toughest schedule. That says something right there.
It does, yeah, and that includes conference play, I'm assuming? That doesn't even...
conference play is
the whole schedule. Sure. Mm-hmm. So... I mean, I wonder where that non-conference schedule ranks in, because I don't know if there are many other teams playing multiple ranked teams. You've got Texas A&M and SMU both ranked, and Marshall, a very good group of 6 team. And, you do have the Lindenwood game in there, but we've talked about how that isn't necessarily a gimme. I mean, it was a 14-point game when they played not too long ago.
Was it 28-14 or 27-14, whatever it was.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got to go out there and play the game still and win, and it's not guaranteed.
This is football and athletics, and there are no guarantees.
No,
there is nothing. But regardless of that, it'll be a terrifically entertaining schedule from the fans' viewpoint. Bears do, as I'm sure everybody knows, open up at Kyle Field in College Station, Texas, against the Aggies, Texas A&M, and it'll be a cool 103 or 104,000 folks in attendance. They always do. All the games at Kyle Field are sellouts. And I think I'm right on this. I'll have to go back and check. I think the final game of the regular season, which is Thanksgiving weekend, I think is Texas A&M in College Station.
Oh man.
Don't you know what that'll be?
The 12th man will be roaring, let's just say that.
There may even be 13, 14 men. What we'll do is take our mid-show time. Actually, it's a brief break. It's not the mid-show timeout. We'll take a brief break coming up in the starting lineup, and then special guests visiting with us. Please, folks, stay right where you are. And we welcome you back to the starting lineup, brought to you by Play It Again Sports, by Swing Right Golf, by Citizens Bank of Rogersville, and by Marshfield Chevrolet. I'm Ned Reynolds, along with
Maddux Radosevic.
Mr. Haynes will be joining us, as will Mr. Purrier, a little bit later on in the show. In the meantime, as promised, we are going to talk a little bit about football. In this case, the Bearcats from Southwest Baptist University in Bolivar, coached for the second year by Paul Hansen, who is hardly a newcomer to the area. Paul, thanks very much for taking time to be with us, man.
Hey, awesome. Thanks for having me, guys.
This is interesting because Coach Hansen, folks, played his college football at Evangel, but then had extensive coaching down here in the area as well. So coming back to Bolivar, this is really back to your old stomping grounds.
Oh yeah, and this is my 21st year of coaching, and a lot of my years have been down here in this area, whether it's the high school level or now the college level. But just kind of cool getting back down here and just kind of getting to see all the old friends I've had, for all these years, and it's been a lot of fun.
Coach Paul Hansen is an offense-oriented coach, and his teams have shown that up at Mid-America Nazarene when he was there for, was it 3 years? Is that when you were there?
5 years, yeah.
5 years. Had high-scoring teams that were record setters, but coaching down here, Coach Hansen was on the staff at Springfield Hillcrest, and they had a fair receiver on that team back then. You remember him pretty well?
Yeah, he wasn't too bad, that's for sure. I think in general you're as good as your players, and we had a good one there. So it was kind of cool, seeing his development through, even from middle school all the way through high school and Doriel, and then it's kind of cool just coming back down here this last year and seeing, Jackson Cantwell kind of going through the same thing,
Yep.
And seeing how those two recruitments are so highly in the media. So it's been pretty cool to kind of follow that.
Coach, you've got your starting quarterback from last year coming back again this year, right? And as an offensive coach, that's got to be really, really nice to have because you just have that stability and that trust, a lot of experience back under center too.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, with coming in, Mid-America, it's only like 2 hours from SBU. So, we're kind of the same region. So we all kind of recruit the same players. So I'd actually recruited Jaron out of high school. He came on a visit at Mid-America. He ate my food and told me no. And so on a recruit visit, so I got this job, he was calling me pretty fast and it just all worked out pretty good. The timing was really good. And he did a great job last year of kind of leading our team and really kind of his first year starting, having, 26 touchdowns, right under 3,000 yards passing the first year. So he's graduated. So now he's a grad. He's working on his master's this year. And I'm really excited for him as taking the next step. And, he was voted captain this week by our team. So it's pretty cool to see him just keep on growing as a player on and off the field.
Paul, let's go back to Mid-America Nazarene real quickly and talk a little bit about those high-scoring teams. When you recruited them, when you took over there, did they immediately glom on to what Coach Hansen wanted them to do offensively?
Yeah, I think, you do this long enough, you recruit certain type of players for certain type of positions. And actually the quarterback that I had there had like 97 touchdowns in 3 years and 2 games. What's crazy is though I was recruiting him as a sophomore. When I was with Frank Tristan at Western New Mexico. And so I had that relationship with that kid, with Adrian there. And when I got the job at Mid-America, I called, hey, you're coming to Olathe, Kansas now. He's like, what? He's from El Paso, Texas. So, but yeah, that's kind of how it works. You keep on recruiting these players and develop good relationships. And he early on, Adrian was really, really good. We could tell, hey, this kid's going to be a little different. And he ended up being probably one of the best quarterbacks in that program's history and led us to 2 conference championships, the national playoffs, number 7 in the country. So it was pretty cool to kind of see that. So I think too, coming here, like our players know that because we're in the same region. They know what we did there and they can kind of see the plan that we're trying to do the same plan here. We just kind of changed the logo.
Were you and Coach Tristan teammates at Evangel?
Yeah. So Coach Tristan and I, we were teammates. He's a little bit older than me, I tell him. And we were teammates at Evangel. Then we've kind of, our families are all really close. So like our kids grew up together. So we were in Texas together. We were in New Mexico together. We go on vacation together. I mean, we're pretty close. So we've been all over the place together.
Well, we'll give away a not so well kept secret, but Coach Tristan's wife was worked with us in another life at another station.
Oh yeah. They're great. I think it's funny because all these places we've been, I think all of our wives still have a text message group, so they're always talking and just real close with them, and they're just great people. And so I think you are who you hang out with, and those people we hang out with. So it's great.
That's very well said. Well said. Speaking of that, let's talk a little bit about the Great Lakes Valley Conference that you're playing in now. Pretty competitive conference with Jewel and Truman State and people like that. How do you assess your team? How do you feel about what they're going to do this year?
Yeah, I think, last year was kind of one of those years, I kind of came in after signing day a year ago in February. So just kind of getting a good idea of kind of where our team was and in the conference and seeing, hey, these are some areas that we got to recruit and make our roster even better. And obviously Indy, they're a team that's won it multiple years in a row now at University of Indianapolis. They're actually leaving our conference after this year. So this will be our last chance to see them. But I think just trying to match what we saw in other teams in recruiting in this class that we have coming in this year that's here already, this freshman class. I mean, they're very fast. We got some really fast young guys. So I think that's the key that you got to do is you got to be a fast team. you can't be a slow team and a dumb team. So we're smart now. We got to keep on getting faster. So those are good combinations when you're fast and you're smart football players.
Coach, it seems like your team played better than the record would indicate last year, 3-7, but played in 4 one-score games that you lost. Very easily could have been 7-3. How do you think that's going to translate to this season?
Well, I think a big key is, that's something that we focus on the off season. It's just those key moments in games where we got to be our best, right? And in 2 of those games that you talked about, we were winning with 7 seconds on the clock and 2. So teams kicked a field goal or a touchdown to beat us with hardly no time on the clock. So, and those are games that maybe we weren't as close in the past. So it's cool to kind of see that, but we're not in it for moral victories here. So we've really focused on situational football this offseason and really kind of get our guys to believe, hey, we could do this, in these key moments, we're going to win. You're going to be prepared, but you got to believe that you can win those games and those key moments.
I'm sure in college you had psych like we all did, and that's where your psychology moments come in. How did the kids handle that, losing close games like that?
I think losing is never fun, right? So I think that was part of it, but some of it, which to me, it's cool. It's good the kids felt this way, but for me as a coach, I'm totally wired different. But some guys would be like, oh man, we're so close. This is great that we were in the game. I was like, well, forget that, man. We want to win every time we step on the field. So I think that was a kind of a thing to get them to flip. Hey, let's just not be cool with moral victories here. We're going to win these games going forward and just expect it every time we're on the field.
Coach, you mentioned all these freshmen that you're bringing in. What do you think that's going to do for these situations where you have to go through adversity? Do you think it's going to provide a bit of a spark for your team?
Well, it better because, there's going to be a lot of competitions in key positions, and it starts with practice. And I tell all the time to our guys, the game is not the time for me to try you out. So you better do it in practice. So, I think since 2019, I've had 5 freshmen of the year in the conferences I've been in. So I'm not afraid to play a young guy. If the young guy is the best player, then he's going to play. And that also tells me too that my staff, we've recruited well, right? So if you're continuing to have those young guys are getting those postseason awards, that means we're recruiting well. So and it makes the practice better. The game should feel really easy because of how you practice. And we practice really hard. I get after them pretty hard. So I want the game to be easy for them.
When did you begin your practices this year with the first game coming up next weekend?
Yeah, so we reported August 3rd. So we've already been practicing for over two weeks. And so we started the August 3rd. They reported, we had our first practice that night pretty late. And we just got right into it. We had a lot that we have to get through our guys with camp, and school started Monday this week. So I had over a week to kind of get them ready while I had their attention, because when school starts, a lot of distractions happen. And so that was really good. We've had it was a long camp, but it was a tough camp, and the guys have gotten through it, which is really awesome.
Maddux mentioned the newcomers who you're recruiting. About how many freshmen do you have on the team this year?
I think we'll have anywhere in the high 30s to low 40s probably. It's interesting. We have a lot of returning guys, but then there's first class that we kind of signed and brought in. It's just we went a bit bigger. We had a couple transfers, but we went with a lot of young, good talent.
Are many of them from the immediate surrounding area?
Yeah, I think most of our roster is from Missouri. We did dip back into Texas a lot this year. We have several coaches on our staff that have a lot of connections to Texas. And in Mid-America, we recruited the Midwest. If you have a tank of gas, we want to recruit you and to get to our campus. But we also dipped into Texas, so I have a lot of connections down there. But really, there's a lot of Missouri kids. St. Louis was really big. I have a lot of kids from Springfield. When I was at Mid-America I took all Southwest Missouri. And I still take all Southwest Missouri as the head coach because I just have a lot of relationships with these coaches down here, and I try to get a lot of players from this area.
When you think about your team's culture, what do you think the recipe for success is to get your players to assimilate into that?
Yeah, I think at first, I'm a big relationship guy. There's some coaches that might do that a little different. I'm big on relationships. I know all of our players' names. Some places they might not know that. I know about the kids. I know where they're from. I know what they're into, all that. Our staff is very relational as well. Okay. And so all of our staff here we've all worked together, whether it was somewhere else or a couple of these coaches played for me somewhere else. So we're all kind of speaking the same message, right? So when a player has the same message all the time from all the coaches, I think that's a big key. And I think the kids, when they feel like those coaches have the trust in them, man, they want to play harder for you, right? And I think that's just a key for us, just kind of going forward.
The relationship factor that you mentioned is very important, and you have, of course, connections when you were at Hill. Were you head coach at Parkview at one time?
Yeah, in 2017.
How were the kids down there when you had them, and at Marshfield as well when you had them?
Oh, great kids. I mean, Southwest Missouri, there's some just great kids, great families down here, just great place to live. And I guess that's why I keep on ending up back down here. But, what's interesting, in 2017, when I was at Parkview, I actually had career day, and Art Haynes he came in to speak at my career day, and sitting in the front row, I don't know if Art realizes, was Trevin Brazil.
Really?
Because Trevin Brazil was on my football team that first year there. So I don't even know if Art knows that. So you might have to tell him that. Trevin Brazil sitting in the front row that day of the career day class.
He is probably listening to not Trevon, but Art's probably listening to us right now. He comes on at 8:00. We'll ask him that. But heck, he did such a great job of being there that Trayvon transferred to Kickapoo.
Yeah. I mean, it's so awesome to see that. And of course, then at that time, Trev, he was only a 6 foot, just kind of, scrawny wide receiver. And then he decided to grow like 10 inches, which is nice, between and your senior year. So that helped him out pretty good.
Did he play football at all when he was at Parkview?
Yeah, he was a wide receiver my first year there.
Gosh, if he had been a 6'10" wide receiver, nobody would have beaten you guys.
You can imagine him in these days with NIL, a 6'10" receiver out there, how much money he could have made. So
you could have been his agent. Come on.
There you go. Hey, I wouldn't even take that much. Enough to put some food on the table.
Paul, this is a bit of a transition, too, coming down here to Southwest Baptist. You're leaving the NAIA up at Mid-America. Is there, in your opinion, a big difference between NAIA level of football and NCAA?
I think, especially in the NAIA, when you get some of the top 25 type teams, there's not a huge difference. I would say in the O-line, D-line, for sure, there could be some areas where you might see a little bit more size, more athletic ability. Maybe the O-line, some of them might bend a little bit easier than some other guys at the D2 level. But skill guys are everywhere, I'll be honest with you. I mean, there's speed everywhere. You just got to go find it. And so I think that's what you see every level is you keep on going up every level. The O-line, D-line, they get a little bit bigger bodies. But I mean, there's a lot of speed out there, and like last year we're playing University of Indianapolis, and the DN that we're playing against, I mean, 2 years ago he had a sack against Georgia in the SEC. Now he's playing in the Great Lakes Conference. So like you get a lot of that too at NAI, the D2 level, where kids are transferring down, and so. I mean, yeah, it's with all the transfer portal and stuff. I mean, kids are all over the place now, so you might end up going against a Division I kid at some point, and he's there for a reason.
Where is that Indianapolis team going after they leave?
I think they're going the conference out there with like Ferris State, Grand Valley, in that direction.
That's pretty good level of competition.
Yeah. Yeah,
now,
for sure.
As far as you're concerned now, is Southwest Baptist and the Great Lakes Valley Conference getting any clue? Is Great Lakes an automatic qualifier for the Division II playoffs?
Yeah, this last year we had 2 teams out of this conference. So you had Indy and Truman State make it. But, yeah, it's an automatic qualifier. So if you win your conference, you're automatic in the playoffs. And Truman was in our region. They were in the top 7 or whatever. So they made it as well. So we got 2 teams in, which was really, really awesome to see how much the conference has grown over the years and how football is getting even more respected nationally.
Now, and Paul Hansen, I don't want you to be modest about this, how close are the Bearcats to being a playoff team?
I think it's one of those deals. We got to win those close games that we had last year. Like you said, we're right there at 7-3 on that mark. And we have two tough non-conference D2 games this year. So I think that will help you in the end if we have a great season. But I think really I think a lot of it's going to depend on how quick some of these young guys that they're playing like juniors or seniors, even though they're younger. Because once they start figuring that part out, we got a lot of talent. We really do. It's really exciting to see. So time will tell. But, man, we're just worried about William Woods in a week, and we'll be ready. And
then your second game, you go on the road. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're going up to playing South Dakota School of the Mines up in South Dakota, Rapid City. So we'll be traveling up there for a non-conference game, which will be a great environment, great facility, great place where we're going. So it'll be really good for our guys to go up there and go on the road.
Well, you have been a gentleman for taking time to be with us this morning. We thank you very much for doing so and wish you an awful lot of good luck. Keep us posted. Will you do that?
Will do, and thanks for having me, and I'd love to talk to you guys soon.
One of these days we'll have some trivia back on here too, Paul.
Let's go. I'll get it. I know a lot about sports.
There you go, man. Thank you. Paul Hansen visiting with us from up in Bolivar. He is the head Bearcat at Southwest Baptist University. Quick timeout on the starting lineup. Back in a second. But also, you're home to the St. Louis Cardinals, and they will play this afternoon from the Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati in the fifth and final game of that series. And this series is even 2-2, Maddux. This is a big game for them.
It is, yeah. It's a chance to continue their series-winning streak. That started all the way back against the Yankees, I believe, and that's really when they turned the tide. So if they can win this one, then the big series that they have is this weekend against the Phillies.
Yeah, and there's still a long road to go. Probably about 37 games, 37 games remaining in the regular season, which ends on the 27th of September, and that's when the playoffs begin. Anyway, it's great having you with us. We have a big second segment coming up in which we'll visit with Terry Lemons, former news leader reporter who has authored a book on the St. Louis Cardinals, and we will visit with Mr. Puryear himself, who will be visiting with us from Bellerive in St. Louis, where the FedEx, the BMW Classic, is just about ready to. They'll be teeing off about that time, too, right in the neighborhood of 9 o'clock, 9 a.m., somewhere around there. So it'll be a lot of fun. And Art Haynes will join us in the second segment as well. So we have a lot going on, folks, and we very much appreciate your being with us. We're going to take our quick timeout, a mid-show timeout, brief break, and then we have much more coming up. And please, folks, stay right where you are.